well. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to speak with you. You're like the most fun doctor. So I
Thank
always like to have information from you regarding single parents and finance and mental health. And I really appreciate you. Thank you for being here today.
Absolutely. I'm glad to be here. Glad to be talking about this important stuff.
Thank you. And thank you for always taking time out whenever I reach out to you to talk about these issues.
Yeah, no problem.
Let me know if it gets loud or anything. I'll move. Or
Oh,
everything
it's
sounds good? Okay.
uh-huh.
Okay, so as I was mentioning, many times single parents have what I like to call, I've been doing this theory that there's this like unintentional, inconsiderate behavior, and some of that stems from stress. And I wanted to see the effects of stress. We can do a little scientific background on the effects of stress on the brain and how that might affect their decision making, especially regarding finances. So I'm teaching a lot on finance. I won't keep you too long.
No, no, no.
So
Good.
yeah.
Yeah. Good question. Yeah. Well, let's start with what stress is. I think that'll kind of give us a better kind of segue into what it does if we start with what exactly stress is. So, when we think about stress, we think about a hormone known as cortisol, and cortisol is responsible for a ton of different things: metabolism, your sleep wake cycle, immune response. Uh, a ton of different things. And when we have excess levels of cortisol, not only do we have diminished physiological effects, we also have psychological effects. So a big one is anxiety. So when you have elevated levels of cortisol, usually we have an elevated sympathetic nervous response, which means that we have shifting of blood flow. When that blood flow shifts from the frontal lobe, it usually goes into the heart. That's why you get racing heart. It goes into the hands and feet. That's why we get sweating. We start sweating. That system is designed for safety and protection. The problem with uh, having that system activated all the time is we're pulling blood from the frontal lobe, so we're not able to decision make. That's why we see stuff like test anxiety, and you may study something and know it front and back, and then you get in front of the test and not know any of it. That all has to do with that with cortisol. So when especially people that are under a high amount of stress, economic stress is a big one. We know that um, single mothers are they're like two times more likely to go on antidepressants, and almost all of it can be related back to some kind of like financial hardship. When you look at a lot of the studies, I know there's some done in like Australia, there's some done here, that a lot of it has an undertone of uh, being on welfare or not being able to make ends meet, those sort of things. So the stress and not being able to activate all the portions of our brain to properly make decisions can lead us into sometimes making poor decisions or sometimes not making decisions at all, which can be equally as bad.
So, when teaching single parents about how to use their finances in a better way, you can't necessarily approach it from a financial standpoint. You'd have to encompass the whole holistic, emotional um, aspects of the situation.
Yeah, you have to start with getting your mind in a state of uh, ability to make high quality decisions. You can't learn how to make high quality decisions without being in a state to make the high quality decisions. So even knowing how to do it, it,
Describe that, yes. Go into
it
that a little bit more detail.
about what again?
Making high quality decision. What would be a high quality decision, and how would your brain, how would you develop the mindset to make a high quality decision?
Yeah, so biggest thing is knowing how to operate under in times of pressure and in stress. So to do that, a lot of times we practice, we study, we join groups, we hone our craft, we seek input from others. But another thing that goes along with the single parent thing is there's a lot of isolation. There's time constraints, right? Because you're the one dealing with getting the kid to where they need to go. You're the one that's bearing the full financial responsibility, so you're probably the one working most of the time. So it's hard to make the time to really um, to learn, to be a part of maybe some kind of group where you learn kind of how to manage decisions, red flags, those sort of things, instead of kind of operating in that fight or flight, or being coerced into decisions that are probably not the best for you. So um, figuring out a way to balance that stress and you know I guess learn is the most important thing, which is probably one of the hardest things to do.
So, would you agree with me that my theory of a single parents, both men and women, have this sort of unintentional, inconsiderate behavior because of the high, elevated levels of stress that prevents them from perhaps caring about other people's needs and acting in a way that would be
Yeah, you're acting in survival mode. So when you're in survival mode, it's what's best for me right now, in a safety sense. So you really don't have a lot of regard for others when you're operating there, right? We're not uh, using our brain to really process. Is this a good decision? Does this have unintended consequences on other people when I make this decision? It's you're more like autopilot. So yeah, yeah, definitely agree with you there.
do you have you noticed this behavior affects single mothers even at high socioeconomic levels, or does it more so people who are in sort of dire straits?
I think it can affect both, because everyone goes through periods where they maybe suffer some um, whatever emotional event, or time constraints, a big one, isolation, those sort of things affect everyone. And when people are going through those things, they tend to have elevated levels of stress. And it doesn't discriminate when you're operating in that level of elevated stress, and of any economic status. You're not going to be uh, maybe as socially aware as you should be.
Thank you. Um, well, I guess if you'd like, you can give a little bit of your background right now. Those answers are very helpful. Like, well, actually, before we get into that, can you give maybe three things you'd recommend for single mothers in that situation? As I speak to moms about financial freedom and the path, I always like to start with mindset. I believe in meditation. Some people are religious, some people are not. Some people have been hurt by religion. What do you kind of recommend?
Yeah, I
And
mean,
let's go into your work as well.
there's a couple things. So, um, sharing the load and the responsibility of the household duties and the childcare stuff. That's if you can get somebody to help you out with that. That's a huge one, because the time constraints that most single parents face can be like one of the biggest things to overcome. Um, Self care, that's a big one too. So being able to take time for yourself. So meditation, whatever, going to the gym, that's a big one. And then staying away from being isolated. That's another big one of the being around other people, and just being able to kind of let loose, laugh a little bit, and not just be running around constantly. Drop off the kids, go to work, got to get off work, get the kids, go home, make food, all.
I remember the insanity.
Yeah, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, so those are some things that are suggested.
Yeah, if you can just take those few minutes to just kind of step back, digress, go to the gym. Obviously, I always recommend go to the gym. People or walk
Yeah,
or something.
absolutely.
And then, if you want to tell them who you are, you're the owner of Camelback Recovery, and maybe how they could reach out to you for some guidance and information if
Yeah,
people are
so
needing help with
yeah,
stress.
I'm a co-owner of Camelback Integrated Health and Wellness. So we're associated with Camelback Recovery. We work in primarily addiction medicine, but we also specialize in treating depression and anxiety. We use cool new modalities that are out there, like TMS therapy and ketamine assisted psychotherapy. So we're really trying to incorporate, the newest, latest, and greatest stuff. You can locate us at camelbackintegratedhealth.com. You're able to schedule appointments, do stuff like that. But yeah, we're focused on using the newest treatment modalities, especially for depression, anxiety, and addiction.
And many of your services are covered by insurance, correct?
Most of yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
pretty much all of our services are covered by insurance. Correct.
Okay. And you're located in?
Oh, we're located in Phoenix, Arizona. Yep, right central.
Okay. And if people want to reach out to you, they can reach out to you.
Yeah, so they can reach out to me at camelbackintegratedhealth.com. We should have a contact us button. They can also reach out to me at rwesterman@camelbackrecovery.com.
And you've been so wonderful. I mean, I reach out to you over anything, and you're just like so good about
Yeah, no,
responding. And
I
I'm going to
try
give
to
you
be. It's
Doctor of
tough
the Year
sometimes.
award. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Very welcome.
I appreciate you. Right now, we don't have a lot of people, but they will start watching it later, especially in the evening.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Do you have anything else you'd like to say? Any more suggestions, recommendations, ways I can help? Any books you'd recommend? Anything? Anything you want to say?
Yeah, there is a couple recommendations. I would say the biggest one is the time management. If you can, figure out how to kill two birds with one stone, that's an excellent uh, little trick. Like I learned, like I will go to the gym and complete some work, or go to the gym and listen to an audiobook. Whatever you can do to manage the time constraints, that's probably where you're going to get the most value, because that's usually where we get very stressed out, as we don't have time. So that's a big one for me. Schedule in breaks, schedule in self care, schedule in downtime. I always try to do that. And then reach out. That's another big one that people don't do.
What prevents people from scheduling that time for themselves? Is it we don't feel worthy, or?
I think it's just like an oversight, because when we're scheduling our day, we're usually scheduling tasks, but we don't see, relaxation or like self care as like a real task. It's more like a treat, right? When it should really be like more, like one of your tasks.
Right.
So people don't tend to schedule that in, and if you don't have your time scheduled, then you most likely won't utilize it.
And what if the person is already going to therapy? Do they still need to schedule in self care, or is the
Yeah, I
therapy
think they should.
sort of okay?
Yeah, or schedule, even put in your schedule, do nothing, for 30 minutes.
And that just helps your mind to calm
Yeah.
down.
Oh, 30 minutes, do nothing. Okay, that's easy. Like,
Yeah. Okay.
it is. You be looking forward to that. It's not really, I don't like the word break, 'cause that, um, it still sounds like it's like intertwined with work. Like on my schedule, I'll just put do nothing.
Are you able to do nothing?
I try to do nothing for half an hour to an hour every day. I'll schedule in 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there. But yes,
That's nice. Is it different for men and women, or?
I don't think so much. I think anyone can schedule it in. I think it's more about uh, getting in the habit of doing it. But I don't think that there's really any discriminatory differences between men and women doing that.
Okay. Well, Dr. Robbie, I'd like to do this more often. I know
Yeah,
you're busy,
yeah.
so I appreciate every moment you
Mhm.
give. Maybe we'll do something weekly. I'm not sure yet. Let me know what you think.
Yeah, no
You
problem.
know,
Anytime.
thank you. I'm going to share this with you, and you share it however you want.
Absolutely. It was good talking to you.
Good talking to you. Have an amazing day. And
You
you
too.
and your family are so adorable. I love
Oh,
everyone
thank you.
on Instagram. Have a
Thank
great
you.
one. Thank
You too.
you. Bye bye.